blinds, 2,500 and 5,000 Aussie dollars. Trickett's card's worth nothing. Now, what is our aggressive Russian going to do with aces? This is pot limit before the flop and no limit afterwards. So it does price a few more players in than might normally get involved. Certainly an exciting format. Tony G with a suited King 10, and that's pretty much the flop you want with a suited King 10. He's made the house, and Smirnoff is going to dig his own grave. How deep he digs it will depend. Of course, he can get out of this with an ace. A 10 would give Tony quads. All in and cool. The Russian polite enough to say, nice hand. But he's not dead yet. Tony G doubles up.
75.
And now he's got ace king. Yeah. You just love to run like this. Jacks, ace 9, aces, ace king. And Thomas has got aces. Oh, look at this. Well, now we're going to see the biggest pot, potentially. These two players, Thomas with 135,000, got awfully quiet on the button, thinking how can he maximise this, praying that Sontheimer has picked up another premium hand. So he's made it 27,000 and it's gone all in cool, and Sontheimer's going to feel sick. He's got all those chips and he's about to lose them, having just doubled up twice. He needs a minor miracle here with his ace king. Oh my God, what a flop! That is sick. Only a king for a split. I can't believe what I'm seeing. That is unbelievable. Oh my God. Well, if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't believe it.
Player to win 3 WSOP bracelets. He is an awesome player. And he played in this big game last year. Just destroyed everybody. He's a great cash game player. And then he got voted off quite quickly. Everyone was just like, I don't even want JP at this table ever.
Tony, help Jungle Man get his chips.
Jungleman's getting out today.
Yeah. Everyone, he's got 15,000 mine for the last hour.
Wow, this is a good spot for Torelli. Trickett's open this pot. Lock called. Jungle Man called from the button. And now Trickett's picked up this, Torelli's picked up this hand in the big blind.
Rear is 2,800.
It's a fairly sturdy re-raise.
Quite.
How much, Phil?
And fold.
Do you have another stack of yellow? I can't see. Oh, like do you have 10 in yellow or just like 30? I'm gonna expose okay. I mean,
but Locke's peeled off the flop here. Now these guys are deep. They're both like 50,000 deep. Holy Toledo! Aces against the flop straight.
Yeah, this could be a big pot here, but Torelli's unlikely to lose a very big hand with aces here.
Well, now the pot's already 7,000, so I mean, like unless he's just gonna go check call, he leads and Locke calls, I mean, this pot can get so big so fast. Is the mistake, Scott, or not the mistake, the clue, if there's ever going to be one for Torelli, that as soon as he gets called here by Locke, he'll realize it really hits Locke's sort of set mining range or something like that?
Yeah, it sets, and obviously, when he hits this board, he hits it pretty well. If he doesn't hit a set or a straight, he's going to hit a pair and a straight draw.
That's 3,000.
And Phil looks a very small bet, 3,000, less than half pot. Decides to just check call, and this is why. I mean, Alex White's playing this hand very well now.
Well, even playing it like this,
it's actually a great card for Alex.
Check.
Brings, you know, a 4-card straight on the board.
8,450.
Now he can beat even less.
That's 8,000.
Even then, you know, if he had a straight draw, he got there with an 8. If he had a 10 in his hand, he likely also had a, you know, 2 pair now with a 9 or a 7.
so hard to lay down Ace's head up still.
I think he can do this right here on the turn, and he just can lose the minimum if he can find a fold here.
He just knows, doesn't he, Scott, that there could be another bet. The next bet could be...
I mean, that's what he's thinking in his mind right now. He's thinking, I might have the best hand, but am I willing to call a bet on the river that's going to be 20,000? And I don't think he is with this board complexion. Not to mention, the board can just get worse. An 8 comes, and what does he do? Or a jack. I mean, like, there's a lot of bad river cards to even compound things, but Phil just has to hit this board in so many ways, at least a piece of it. He very rarely has absolutely nothing here.
And I think overall, Locke is going to be best barreling the river big, don't you? It's such a polarizing bet right now. If he was bluffing, he would do it.
Yeah, he's got 36,000. He could, I mean, his stack size is where he can ship it here if he wanted to.
All in.
And he does. He bets 36,000 into 30,000, which is basically a pot-size shove. And this is so polarized. He either has a straight or he
like
doesn't.
35 though?
It even brings a backdoor flush, but Phil isn't concerned about that. He decides to ship it because if Torelli had the flush anyway, he would have bet and called off, so it made no difference.
This is now potentially the biggest pot of Big Game 6 so far. Torelli, you always have aces in these spots, don't you?
Yeah, it seems that way. I mean, Torelli's probably kicking himself now for not folding on the turn.
You do have a lot of hands.
It's one of these spots that, yeah, he's talking to himself. Probably thinks he should have folded the turn, but I think Phil just has it here a lot. I mean, the one thing that's going through Torelli's mind right now is he's thinking that Phil knows that Torelli can rarely have an 8 here.
God,
he's thinking that there's very few 8s in his range, and he knows that he never has the straight there, so he's probably leveling himself into thinking that Phil could be making a play here because he can't have the straight, so it's a perfect opportunity to Phil to represent the 8 here.
I mean, surely Phil is capable of making a move here.
But it just doesn't seem that way to us. But it's so easy when we see the cards. It's not even fair. When you're in that seat with those 2 aces, it's a tough fold, but I still think he's going to fold it here.
There's like something weird about the dynamics, I think, with Locke in that Torelli kind of, in my mind, Torelli kind of expects that Locke is always going to be talking about a nit, that he's a nit, that he's a nit. And Torelli does think that Locke has this one big bluff in him. Whether or not he does or he doesn't, just like Torelli's been kind of expecting that Locke was going to, at some point, just go off to the absolute races against him. Now he knows there is a bit of history in this big game already. Torelli made that big cold 4 bet with no hand.
I get to see it in 30 minutes too,
just
but
laid down the queens, and he's just, what is he, just trying to talk himself into a call. I just think there's this weird dynamic, and to me it's just that, you know, Phil did make a fairly loose call pre-flop. It wasn't a small raise, it was up to 2,800. And like, Alec knows that, like, when you make that kind of call, you are expecting to bluff some pots, you know? There is this dynamic going on there.
Sure, but the call is still reasonable with his hand. I mean, it was only 5% of his chip stacks. I mean, in position to...
It was more than that. It was more than that.
28, he had over 50,000. He started the hand with a little 52,000, yeah. Like a little bit more than 5%. 5.5, 6%.
He's not calling. He's calling! He called him!
He's not
He
gonna be-
flopped the straight!
Bravo.
He flopped
Nice,
the straight. He got paid off all in on the river after the 10 came and the club.
But I just.
And Alec knows.
I think I have you covered, right?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Alec knows he was supposed to fold. It was just that little thing. He went with his gut there. He went with his gut, and his gut was wrong. And Scott, he is buried now. He is now. He's just lost his profit. He was the big winner.
Nice info.
Phil Locke has got all the money, and he's going nowhere. This is.